Thank you, Maria.
Mhm.
So real quick, I just wanted to say that Attitudes in Attire, thank you for the Cohen Center for Tanya and I came up with this concept together, and I can't believe it's happening. But I also wanted to make a small announcement that I recently found out that I am a semifinalist for the Women's Veteran America. So I'll be sharing that soon. And that's it. So thank you. And we'll pass it on to our panelists.
Awesome. Thank you, Karina. So yes, I would love to introduce each of you panelists, and I'm not going to introduce you. I'm just going to kind of let you guys talk about who you are, who you served with, how long, and then now where you work or what business and kind of organization are you affiliated with. So Maggie, would you like to go first? You're on mute.
There I am. I'm not so sure I want to follow the candidate for Woman Veteran of the Year, but I guess I will. Congratulations. That is wonderful. I'm Maggie Crocksville. I am a Marine veteran. I served out at Camp Pendleton in Marine Air Group 39 from 82 to 86, and then IRR for a couple of years. Met a fella, married him. When he got out of the Marine Corps, we wound up in Texas. I worked for many years, government contractors, IT industry, wound up after the third kid staying home and got involved with volunteer work, mostly around education. Lived in the town of Prosper for many, many years while it was growing. And now I work with the Greater Dallas Veterans Foundation. I was the founding executive director for the Veterans Institute for Film and Media, which is Dallas Film Society's initiative to educate military veterans to work in film and media production. So I've kind of parlayed that over to the foundation. My real passion is that intersection of healing that can happen when arts and military combine, and you use arts for healing in whatever method that is. So that's kind of what I'm doing, building a program to start hopefully recording all of your histories, really get busy here in North Texas, collaborating hopefully with some of y'all who are attending and some of my fellow panelists to create events that y'all would like to go and that you would feel comfortable in sharing your truth. And we'll get that documented for history's sake. So I'm pleased to be here. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much to Attitudes in Attire and the Cohen Clinic for inviting me.
Thank you, Maggie. Thanks for that introduction. Let's see, next on my screen, I've got Lucy Caba. Would you like to do your intro, please?
Okay, I am Lucy Caba. I found these veterans groups about 5 years ago. I'm an Army veteran. I'm a personal trainer, nutritionist, and now kind of help people with my hands by doing myofascial release and active release therapy. So for pain, I've been working now with Tanya probably for about 4 years or so. I've taken advantage of almost all the things that she puts together. A lot of the retreats, I've met some really amazing women in the retreats that have helped me grow and get myself more put together. I've struggled a lot once I got out. I got out 20 some years ago. And I do have PTSD, and I suffered a lot on my own for many, many years until I found these groups of women and other veterans. I actually call Texas home now. I actually claim it as home and not New York. Don't tell everyone, but I do enjoy being able to participate in these events and have conversations with like-minded women and very intelligent and inspiring women, because I think that there's a lack of that in a lot of in day-to-day living. I'm around people all day long, and I'm around people of all different walks of life and ages, and I see where women are these days and how we're portrayed in the media and all kinds, and even in my own industry, being the fitness industry, it's not, I don't really agree with how we're portrayed in many aspects of it. So I try to pass on what I know and my values and my beliefs to my clients and any women that I can get in touch with, and I like to learn from other women as well.
Thank you, Lucy. And we're happy to have you here today. And I'm so glad that you've been kind of part of the Cohen Clinic for years now and participating, actually all of you guys on the screen. So I'd love to have, is it Damika? I feel like I'm saying your name incorrectly.
That's correct.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'd love to have you to do your intro next, please.
Thank you, Tanya. And I appreciate you and Karina for inviting me for this. So, and Karina, congratulations. Well deserved. So my name is Damika Wallace. I'm the owner of Her Agenda. We create a space for women to get resources around gender-specific issues and topics. Like our current initiative is to help women veterans who have experienced sexual assault. So I have a conference that's hosted next weekend, next Saturday. And I'll bring together different resources like a sex therapist, tantra teacher, life coach, and also a sexual assault coach to kind of help women identify struggles that they're going through when pertaining to intimacy, and also giving them tools, tips, and techniques on how to move forward in their relationship, also with building confidence, as well as rebuilding intimacy in relationships. And just to say, intimacy isn't just sexual, it's mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, and then also sexual. So when you have all five and they're balanced, you have a healthier relationship. Also, we do monthly events hosted by a therapist who kind of help also identify an issue. And then we also expose women to different sensual and sexual activities in order to get them familiar, just exposure to it, to kind of help build confidence as well. Next year, I'll be planning on a conference around all things fertility. So it would be for women who want to have a kid, they're pregnant, want to stay pregnant, they're in that last trimester, or in postpartum, and just giving them the do's and don'ts to being pregnant. And then also, I should add, also for women who, I just had a kid, now I want to have another kid. So how long do I have to wait, or do I have to wait? So just all those questions will be answered. So I'll be bringing together a lot of resources in order to answer all of those questions. And I'm based out of Texas. Also, I just want to add, I am Army vet. I served between 2002, 2006. I was stationed in Sierra Vista, Arizona. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that intro. Lisa, would you like to go next?
Absolutely. I'm Lisa Skier, and I was in the Air Force from 1976 to 1992, stationed all around the world. I met, until recently, I was the business office manager at the Cohen Clinic in Addison. I've recently moved on, but intend to continue working as a volunteer with Tanya, because I couldn't have a day without Tanya. And for Lucy, just so everybody knows, Lucy was my personal trainer until I moved on from Addison. So if you need a personal trainer, she's perfect. But I'm here just to share my experiences as an Air Force veteran from times gone by.
Thank you, Lisa. And I'm happy to see you again, since we're not seeing each other every day anymore. And let's see, I think we've got Brittany now. Brittany, would you like to do yours?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thanks to the Cohen Center and Attitudes in Attire for creating this platform for us. I am an Army veteran. I spent 9 years in the military, and I've served in 2 combat missions overseas. Once I returned home, I went back to school full-time, obtained a degree in public health, and now I am currently working for Empower. And Empower creates IT opportunities for veterans and veteran spouses. And not only do we offer free IT training, and this is just not, when I say free, no, that means no GI Bill, no Hazelwood Act, it's completely free. We help with social support, which I'm the social support manager here. I make sure that everybody is connected with those different community resources that we need as veterans. We also provide internship placement. So we make sure that our trainees also find paid internships once they complete all of their training. And what other questions did we have? I forgot.
That's pretty much it. Just your service and who you're with.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you. So that's a little bit of an introduction to all of y'all. So now we're just going to get right into the questions. So I'm not going to ask anybody like directly, but I would love if you feel inclined to answer the question. So our first question is, what challenges, if any, did you face when transitioning out of the military? And then what do you know now that you would have liked to have known before transitioning from military to civilian life?
If it's okay, I guess I'll hop back in.
Sure.
So challenges that I faced. Of course, I think a lot of us are looking for what's next once we transition out of the military. And I too did that. I want to say for 2 years after I transitioned, I was kind of lost. And not only that, I was suffering from PTSD, depression, MST, amongst, a lot of other mental health disorders. But one of the things that helped me, I want to say, was actually Tanya. Somebody convinced me to show up to a Cohen event after being isolated in my house for quite some time. And she walked up to me, asked me, did I know about the Cohen Center, asked me a few questions. And the next thing you know, I believe that evening, I think after the event, I received a call from the Cohen Center. So along with the Cohen Center and the Wounded Warrior Project, I want to say, I feel like they really saved my life going forward from that day. And after that, I went ahead and got back in school. And then I found this job here. But even in between that time frame, I knew of no resources. And I think that's one of the struggles getting out the military, is not knowing where to turn for resources. You have some people that have resources, but they won't even tell you what the resources are. And then a lot of people also don't even know what questions to ask. You pretty much don't have any direction. So once I was able to get connected with, also I served with Karina in the military. So she got me connected also through Attitudes and Attire. And then Karina is always plugging me with the different resources in the community if I don't already know about them. But I would say Attitudes and Attire, definitely, Cohen Center, the Wounded Warrior Project, and TMC. I can't leave them out because I honestly healed through volunteering, and they allowed me that platform to do that as well. But that's all I have for that question. So.
Thanks for sharing, Brittany. Anybody else want to say anything about that, about their transition?
I think Brittany kind of said everything. Mm-hmm. I just want to add a little piece. One, my challenge was similar to Brittany's. I got out the military struggling with a lot of things, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, being broken, coming off deployment, and then 2 months later, getting out the military was a rough transition. And so I didn't know anything about resources. And then also we have to think about a lot of the bases are in the middle of nowhere. So there's no resources. And then you move to another state or move back home to a small town, kind of like Brittany was saying, what are the resources? But another struggle that I had was just realizing that I was struggling. That's something that I did not do for years because of my military mentality. I was kind of like, oh, I'm good, I'll be okay. But secretly, my body was like shutting down because of all the emotional stress that I was going through that I didn't want to deal with. So just identifying that, had I identified and also came to realization that, hey, I have a struggle going on mentally that I'm not working on. Let me find help. Let me find, some kind of resource, some kind of organization that can kind of help me move past that. That would have been helpful.
So that kind of leads me into the next question, which I think Brittany answered a little bit, but I'd love to hear if there's any other organizations. So what organizations did you guys find beneficial during or after your transition, and why?
I'll jump in on this one. For me, I didn't find help, and I actually, like Damika, I didn't know that I was struggling. I didn't know I was going through a lot of stuff. And for 20 years, I lived my life in stress mode and for survival mode because I didn't know that what I was going through was not normal. So when I started with HCC and I got introduced to 22 Kill and eQuest and all these other organizations that had that provided me therapy, different kinds of therapy. Tanya with the art therapy, that's what really got me to start going deeper into my own traumas because I had no idea. So the same for years, I just thought I had stress.
Could I just pop in? I think, I actually, being a different era, Lisa and I being kind of our older veterans among the panel, I really had a fairly easy transition, moving from military to government contractor and then landed at electronic data systems, which had a very rigid structure. But the thing that I would say is, for me, no one is left unchanged by serving in the military. We all change in different ways, but to understand that you're never going to be a civilian, you're going to be a veteran, right? Once you stand on the yellow footprints or whatever the rest of you services do, you're now a veteran when you get out. And it took me a long time to kind of feel, I would say 20 years to feel more like a civilian than a military person. And I would say seek the help that you need sooner rather than later. Even if you think I'm okay, suck it up. Something's going to come along someday and you're going to have to deal with it. And I think it's a lot easier, at least even physically. You're in better shape when you're younger, you're more resilient, able to instill new habits. Keep up, join organizations, stay connected. I know sometimes that's hard. It's so hard to pick up the phone, but you've got to get connected, get volunteering. That's a great thing. That's what I learned. I joined the Marine Corps. My struggles were kind of before I joined the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps saved my life, and I learned to serve others. The whole is greater than the individual in the military. And when you go out and you reach out a hand to help a brother or sister, you're helping yourself too. So volunteer, get involved in an organization, to meet people. What do you like to do? Go, just get out there as hard as it may be, and then get the help that you may not even think that you need. Just connect.
So in the chat box, there's a few questions. One of them is, what did y'all find most helpful to shortening the time it takes to find purpose enough for getting on board with civilian living? And that's from, I'm not sure what her name is, Rona.
So if I may, Tanya, finding purpose, is really a journey. And this individual is unique for each one of you. So it's something that you have to really go through it and be very conscious about it. I found my purpose right now with Attitudes in Attire, and I just got it by chance. Didn't plan on it. It was just something that I was lucky enough, I guess I would say, because I had applied when I first got retired. I came here to Dallas to look for a home, and I saw the ad on LinkedIn. Somebody had from, I can't recall right now, but they put it on LinkedIn, and I reached out to Lynn at the time. And at the time, it was not a good timing for me because I wasn't retired just yet. I was actually going for Karina's job at the time. And like I say, it was not good timing for me. When I got here to Dallas itself, Lynn, she asked me to stay connected with Attitudes in Attire. So that's really where I started finding out more about what Attitudes in Attire did. I went through several workshops. Karina asked me to mentor a few of our veterans that came through. So really finding your purpose is you have to get out there and find it. It's not just going to show up for you. So volunteering, that is probably the best way. Find a cause, find something that really resonates with you and volunteer. go for it. Ask. You don't always have to be paid for. Take a few hours out of your day and do that. And that's what's going to help you realize, okay, is this really what I want to do? And keep trying as much as you want, as you need, because there's so many other organizations out there. Even if you want to go within the corporate world, there are so many other organizations that are just directed for veterans, to help veterans. And just like Damika said, you just don't know what the resources are out there till you start asking, till you start looking. LinkedIn is a great place to look for those things. But stay connected. You're gonna find that group. You're gonna find that organization that gives you that purpose. It may not be the first one, it may be the second one, and so on. But you are gonna find that. You just have to stay with that. That's all.
I would just like to tell my story briefly. So I've been out the military since 2006. And so I literally got out the military, went to school full time, like taking 20 plus credit hours per semester while doing work study for years. Got out of that. I thought, okay, I want to go into clinical laboratory. Went into clinical laboratory, went all the way up. I was a manager of a molecular lab, and I'm feeling unfulfilled. So then from there, I left there, went into corporate America on the revenue side of healthcare for a couple of years, and that wasn't it. So then I went to HCC, where I met Karina as well as Lucy, starting businesses, and I still didn't feel fulfilled. So it wasn't until I created Her Agenda that I now feel like, oh my God, I found what I like doing, something I'm passionate about. And through Her Agenda, I'm not trying to help other women. Honestly, I'm trying to help myself. I've experienced sexual assault in the military. I was raped twice. And so I've struggled with that for years. And so it wasn't until I said that, hey, this is something that I feel like other women can benefit from, but more than anything, like this is something that I can benefit for. So every single event that I put together is something I feel like I need for myself. Like I need to be more confident. Eventually I want to get into a relationship and have a healthy marriage. What do I need to do in order to do that? So that's how I kind of gain confidence, as well as finding my passion. And I'm just going to answer somebody's question briefly, because she was talking about Robin. She was talking about there's a disconnect between female veterans and resources. I agree. There are a lot of great VSOs, veteran service organizations that are female specific. But going back to what Lucy and I talked about, a lot of female veterans who are getting out the military don't recognize that they have an issue, that they're struggling with that issue. So we can create all these VSOs, all these opportunities, all these resources for everybody to get help. But until you come to realize that, hey, I'm struggling with this issue, let me go and get help, then it will be another VSO that closed down.
Damika, I must ask, correct me if I'm wrong, you're also working on your doctorate right now?
Oh, I am.
That's amazing.
I didn't want to talk about that because it's a part of the struggle, like trying to find myself. And so I was just like, oh, let me go for my doctorate real quick. And so I'm almost finished with it. And I'm like, I really don't. I was doing it for personal growth. And it's a part of finding your passion. When you don't find your passion, you're just doing stuff. You're just doing stuff for no reason.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you said.
I agree. And though I'm co-hosting and not a panelist, I have to say that me too. In the military, I did human resources and I also did communications. So when I went back to college, I went for human resources because it's all I know. It's what I knew. And obviously I loved it. But the same thing, I started volunteering with eQuest, with Attitudes and Attire. I was doing the programs at HCC, and it's amazing to hear everyone share these organizations. I was like, oh yeah, I did do that. But it saved my life. The volunteering led me to realize I wanted to do more so of social work, psychology, and helping people, and absolutely nothing to do with human resources. So that is how I found my purpose, was the volunteering with the VSOs and finding my way. So thank you all for bringing us back to that and reminding us of it.
I think a lot of us too.
You'll have a wonderful day. Love this opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you. Bye.
I think a lot of us also have to remember that we'll be doing many things trying to find our purpose. And we may not find it when we think we have. We might do something that we enjoy and that does help other people, but we may not be completely fulfilled with it. But the key is to continue looking, that that might just be a stepping stone for you to actually find your purpose. So don't give up when you think that it's not going your way. If you're still helping others and you're in a good place anyway, you're just not sure that that's it, just keep moving and keep trying. Because I haven't found my purpose. I'll be honest with you. I love what I do, and I think I help people every day, but I don't think this is it for me. I think there's still something out there that I'm supposed to be doing. But every single day I get up and I do what I have to do, and I feel like I'm taking myself one step closer. So if you're wondering that what you're doing, like going back to school or doing something with volunteering and still doing your job, those are all stepping stones. Just keep it going, keep it moving, and surround yourself with people that encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
Lucy, I'm glad you said that. That is true. And I think one of the things that I've learned along the way is we're always resetting that button. We're always starting over. And we're always still trying to find our destiny. Just like every day, we're always striving to be a better person, a bigger person. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Like we have bigger destinies, and we're still figuring that out, no matter our age, what we've been through.
Well, I think that what was important for me, especially once I left the paid workforce full time, was, my children. I mean, because I was a mom, the things that I did centered around their activities, and there were some great things. But I also wanted to stay current with events and that kind of stuff. But it's amazing to me. I'm an expert in nothing. I did go back to school to finish my degree, kind of in the middle of raising, kids and working and all that kind of stuff, just kind of staying busy, avoiding issues that I should have addressed, 40 years ago. But for me, it's everything built on everything else. And though I'm an expert in nothing, I know a lot of different people, and I know a little bit about a lot of different stuff, and I've experienced a lot of things. And I love it when I call them inception moments, where all of a sudden 2 thoughts or 3 thoughts and you go whoop, and things lock into place. And that's how you discover your passion, is by trying a lot of different things. And as you stumble across them, and again, I'm not an expert in arts. I'm not an expert in mental health. I'm not an expert in veterans. I'm not an expert in any of those things, but there's a really great thing that can happen when those things meet. And the really wonderful thing about the veteran service organizations here in Dallas is everybody's so generous with the resources and with collaborating. And it's wonderful to see the boats rise together. And I think that that's one of the things that Cohen and Attitudes and Attire has been trying to do for years, is like, how can we lift each other up? Because your success does not detract from mine, and you go girls. And I really see the ascendancy of the woman, not to the detriment of the men, but a lot of traditionally run male organizations, or organizations that are very macho. For example, I mean, not to denigrate 22 Kill or anything, but they're riding motorcycles and shooting guns and flying around in helicopters. They're doing great work. But that doesn't necessarily appeal to all women. And women, you have to be in a safe place, right? You have to feel comfortable to share your truth. And I think it's wonderful, Damika, that you're out there and you're saying it, and that's so inspiring to me, to have the courage to talk about what you did, because there's healing in that as well, right? But I see that the men now are saying, hey, we've got to start, helping our sisters. Our sisters are there. How can we help them? By finding the women who can help them, and they're hearing us and they're seeing us, and it's thanks to the great women on this panel and who put it together, and other ones, I'm sure many in our audience, who are helping to make the world a better place for all of us.
Maggie, I'm glad that you brought that up about the support of men, because since I started my company, I've had a lot of support, not only from women-owned VSOs, but also from male VSOs as well, because they see, women are going through, right now, it is the time of the woman. With the Me Too movement, there's a lot of movements that's going on that's putting spotlights on different issues around women problems. And so a lot of men are really, especially veteran males, are coming forward and trying to like support us in any way that they can. I think some VSOs that I can think of, Camp Shield is one, based out of out of Houston. With that one, I think a lot of her support comes from male veterans who have opportunities to kind of bring to her. So I think working together, female and male veterans, supporting each other, all we could do is just continue to support each other. That's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to continue to help each other and build upon each other.
Thank you. Before I go into the next question, and it's funny that it goes, but Rana Lee said something in the chat, and I wanted to share and get everyone else's responses and respond myself. She says, I felt that serving in the military was a calling, so inventing a plan B took over a decade to achieve, and it never was equal to military service. Volunteering is great for finding some other purpose, but volunteering doesn't provide for a family. How do y'all earn enough to pay for household bills once no longer paid enough to get by? There's no fairy tale answer to that. When I was volunteering with Attitudes in Attire before I got hired on, volunteering at eQuest, I was in a car that didn't have AC. My husband was stressing me about, hey, you graduated, it's time for you to start working. And something in my heart just told me to be there. I didn't have it to even volunteer. I needed a job. But fortunately for me, I found my passion and I was offered a job through my volunteering, and the networking was very beneficial to me. And it, really helped. But that's not everyone's story. So if anyone has anything on that, I would love for you to fill in on it.
Well, mine's go ahead, Maggie.
Well, what I was going to say is, I'm very fortunate at this point in my life that I don't have to bring in, a living. And so, but one of the things that Karina said is being there and the networking. And I think that that's something that we lose, or we never knew. When we come out of the military, we don't know about networking. I mean, I remember our inaugural class for the Institute when we said something about, okay, when you get done, you've been networking, right? And they all just looked at us like, what are you talking about? I never had a degree when I was working. I made good money when I was working. I usually worked in marketing. I was an electronic technician. I wrote engineering manuals and repair manuals. Anyway, but every single job, every single volunteer opportunity that I didn't create myself came from someone I knew and who knew me and knew what I could deliver. So that I can't stress it enough. Yes, you've got to put food on the table, but you just got to get out there, because the jobs will come. People they see you, they remember you, they know what you do, and as long as you're keeping in touch, I'm annoying, just keep it in touch, having a coffee, sending an email, shooting a text, whatever. When the job comes open, they'll think of you and you'll be there.
I absolutely agree with the both of them, and my story is really parallel to Karina's. But like both of them said, I can't even stress enough how networking is very, very, very essential. Once you get out, you used to hear the term, it's about what you know. No, it's not. It's about who you know. What you know is beneficial, but who you know is even more beneficial. And you never know who you're going to meet through volunteering, through just talking to different people. So, sometimes honestly, you have to do what you have to do until you're able to, I guess, get where you want to be. And it's a journey. And they've said this already, and that journey looks different for everyone. So you just kind of have to figure out what's right for you.
Also, there's different organizations that require different amounts of time for volunteering. I have my own business, and at the time I was struggling big time with not having enough clients. So I couldn't give money, but I gave my time, and being exposed to these events and to different people at those organizations, I got exposure. I was able to meet so many people. And just like all these ladies have mentioned already, the fact that I was present at these events and these helping these organizations, people started to know me and they remember me. And now I've gotten so many clients from people remembering, oh yeah, Lucy did this. And oh, she's a trainer, just call her. And just by default, I went in going through the programs that some of these organizations had. So I was going to therapy with these programs. Then it helped me so much that I wanted to be a part of it. So I volunteered my time to help them with other patients. And then just being in the area and going to different events and helping out. And I couldn't give a lot of my time, but the little bit of time that I could give was enough to help my mental state and to help my business grow, because people remembered me. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want people to remember you and to remember that, oh, you're a good person. There's, you know, I would rather go with somebody that I know than somebody that I don't know, but they have whatever, you know, reviews online. But I met her in person and I talked to her in person. So it's a little different. And every organization has different levels of volunteers. So you don't have to think that you can't volunteer at all because you can't give a week, 9 to 5 days. No, I did it from maybe 2 hours a day, once a week. I would go to eQuest for 2 or 3 hours on Wednesdays. And
as any of the nonprofits around here, any time, talents, or gifts that you have to share, they will take it. I guarantee you, we are all, that's one of the reasons we like to collaborate, because it lightens the load. And again, we all like a mission. We all like a team. We want to work together. And I think that that's 100%, what Lucy says is, if they know you, they know you're military, so they know you've got a work ethic and that you're all about getting a job done, whatever it takes. You can teach someone to do a job, to do the actual, this is how this has to work.
Yep.
But you can't teach what the military instilled in us, if we didn't have it already, that, get it done, pivot until you're dizzy, but achieve the mission. So
I would just like to add, Mission Continues was very pivotal for me. I didn't consider myself a veteran until I was out maybe 15 years, probably 10 years, until I was finally in between jobs. I was transitioning from one to the other. I took some time off and I was like, hey, let me serve, let me volunteer, let me do something, because mentally I was just going through a lot. So I researched volunteer work, found Mission Continues. The thing I like about Mission Continues is it's very hands-on. Like, you're going to get your hands dirty. You're not going to just sit at a front desk, staple some things, answer some phone calls. You're going to get your hands dirty. You're going to lead some projects. And it was a great opportunity to meet a lot of veterans who are like-minded, and then also the connections and networks that they have. And so from there, I ended up finding out about Allies in Service in the DFW area, and they help military transition, not transition into a job, transition into a career. Their program was built around identifying companies that wanted military to have careers, like leadership opportunities within their companies, and not just floor level grunt work. So like everyone said on the panel, volunteering is great. It's a great opportunity to help you network, to get you out and be social. Also is great for mental health. And then through all of this, you can build up your personal network and professional network as well.
Thank you. So our next question was actually, how can men help empower women veterans, or is it even important? I kind of feel like we've touched on that quite a bit already. Does anyone have anything to add to that?
You said, what was it you said? How
can men help empower women veterans, or is it even important?
I think to a certain level, female veterans need to be acknowledged by the males. I think that I've been through a lot of the events that are provided, you know, shooting, hunting, all these, which I'm okay with, but it's not what I always want to do. You know, like I don't always want to be out in the mud getting dirty. Like, but I think that they just need to acknowledge that we served and that we were their equals, regardless of how much different we are biologically. We were all soldiers together, and I think if they can, I've gotten a lot of help from male veterans, so I really don't have anything bad to say about them. I've gotten an enormous amount of help, but these guys are very whole. They're very in tune with their life purpose, and they've really acknowledged every person that served, not just themselves or their male friends. So it has to be the males that we would need help from would really have to just acknowledge us and acknowledge our service, because we know how to give ourselves high fives and each other, but they also have to acknowledge, hey, I was right there, you know, fixing the same helicopter you were in, or the one that saved you. I was the one that worked on that. So I could be just as helpful out here in the civilian world too. And just like I had your back there, I hope you got it out here too. So do we need them? I struggle with needing people, but I do know that in the past 5 years or so, for 15 years, I try to do it by myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and admit it. Yeah, we need them. We need all each other, period. And they need us just as much as we need them. So yeah, but I think it starts with acknowledgement.
I agree.
Yeah. What I think is really wonderful is, you know, I look to my sisters who came before me, who provided a foundation for me to serve on with my brothers and my sisters. And I think the military has come a long way. You know, our first integrated platoons in the Marine Corps, the first series of integrated out at Camp Pendleton, the first women Marine, or not Pendleton, MCRD San Diego graduated a couple of months ago. So I think it's really exciting. And what I see is from strong veterans like you, Lucy, and Damika, and Brittany, and Karina, and Lisa, is that you get out there and I feel supported from the women who came after me. Do you know what I mean? That you guys have made, you know, the time I served in the 80s, we still had truly the old Corps. I mean, the guys are like, what are you doing in my Marine Corps, right? And we didn't go through the same training, and we were very limited in the roles we could play. And so all of us have been pushing. And what I like now is the men truly, you know, in the Marine Corps, we always talk about Hollywood Marines, you know, my husband's a Hollywood Marine. But the women, it was like, well, you know, are you really a Marine? And so thank you all so much. And when we do need each other, and I think this new generation of more aware men who are working in the veteran service organizations especially do see us more as equals. And I think the more that they work in a civilian society with civilian women, that they recognize how strong we really are and what we bring to the table. So yeah. We need them, but as equals, and we all have to hold them accountable.
Definitely. Thank you. We're down to 12 minutes and we wanted to finish up. So I have to share real quick. My husband is retired from the Army, and he used to contractor, and he's currently in Fort Drum, and they were having a dog and pony show, and this general was coming in. So they've been preparing for this general all week, and it's he this and he that, and he's going to do this. So someone questioned the guy that's at Fort Drum, that's like their permanent person, like, are you sure it's a male? Of course it's a male. Like, it wasn't even in a consideration. Well, in walks this female general, and all the men like were speechless. They didn't know what to say. And my husband was so proud. He's like, this is what my wife keeps talking about. He was just so proud. Like, he called me as soon as he could to tell me the story, and I just love to hear it and the experiences, and you know, just all the men preparing for this man that was coming in, and it was a woman. It was really awesome to hear. So I want to ask the next question, but
Rena, real quick.
Yes.
Can I just add something real quick to the end of that?
Yes.
all of this is great, but kind of like going back to what we've been saying, if you don't show up, and if you don't, there's a lot of surveys that go out for every organization, national organizations, small organizations, that go out every single year asking, what do you want to see? If you do not show up, vocalize what you want to see with those organizations, it would never change.
Absolutely.
And then also on top of that, you have to kind of realize what issues are you struggling with? What do you need help with in order to fill out that survey every single year? So just please, 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 I beg you, instead of us keep trying to reinvent the wheel, another BSO is popping up trying to help out with that, and no one is attending, no one's showing up, no one is liking anything, no one is sharing content, no one's showing up for events. Just every single organization that you can think of that's veteran owned. I'm talking about nonprofit organizations. Go online, find their surveys, and submit what you want to see. If you want to go and get a pedicure every single month, tell them that you want a pedicure, you want spa dates, you want pole dancing classes, whatever you want to see, put it on that survey every single year, every single time you see it hit your email box, type it in. Hey, I need something for female veterans.
Definitely. Thank you. So my last question, but Lisa, we haven't heard from you as much, so I'm going to ask you to go first if you don't mind. Hate to call you out. But the question is what can we do? What can we do as women veterans to help prepare our fellow female veterans when it's their time to transition?
I think personally, I'm from a completely different era. We didn't have transition programs. We didn't have any of that. And I came out of the Air Force from Germany and moved to Texas with no support. So I think the biggest thing we need to continue is to be completely involved in the out processing process for women veterans. And I would be beyond, and this sounds really sexist, having a completely different day for women veterans as they out process, because the needs are different, the agencies are different. And a lot of times, as we've all said, we're afraid we don't speak up for what we need. But if we're all sitting in a room together with out others, it's easier to say that we want a pedicure, that I have MST, and where can I go where I'm at? Sometimes it's easier to say in a room where the people are the same as you, and not just a big room with a panel sitting up in front and taking notes, but not really taking notes and not paying a whole lot of attention to what you're actually saying. But I think I would not be beyond asking that would be something special for women. And it's okay to, as we talk about this, it's okay to be women. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being a woman and having different needs. We did equal jobs, we got equal pay, but we are different. And so I don't see a reason why we can't have different needs and have them addressed differently than the men.
Thank you. I love it.
Yes, Lisa was spot on. And I'll go ahead and add, I think when other women hear women sharing their stories, especially when they feel like they're alone, or their questions might be, stupid questions, or either they might not even know what questions to ask, but by hearing someone else's story, they kind of have that epiphany and they're like, okay, you know what, that is a question that I should have asked, or maybe I would benefit from this resource, from this organization, from whatever it is. So I think just creating that platform for women, like you said, maybe even something separate, even if it's just a day for things that are just related to women's needs, would be something that would be very beneficial going forward. And Lucy also, I'm sorry, just to speak on something Lucy said, like she said, just showing up and being places. Before I even met Lucy, I knew who Lucy was just because we shared the same networks. And I would honestly refer people. I'm like, I don't know who she is, but I know that a lot of people go to her for personal training. and she's really good, and she's, you know, really fit. So I'm one of those people, like she said, people knew her just from showing up, and I would refer her to people if somebody asked about a trainer. But saw Lisa about to talk, sorry.
It's all right. I just wanted to add one thing about networking. Now that I have a second, I would not have gotten my job at the Cohen Clinic if I hadn't been to Attitudes in Attire on a day they asked me to look at resumes, and another female veteran was there who knew me and knew I was looking for a job, again, the network thing, and told me about the job at the Cohen Clinic. And so networking is truly important. Sometimes it's really hard to do. We all have busy lives, but you're right about Lucy. I knew about Lucy before Lucy knew about me. And Attitudes in Attire, when I was first moved here, I went through the Boots to Heels program, which opened the door to a whole lot of people I had never met before. So you just got to get out there and do it. It's so tough. It just really is tough, but it's made a difference in my life for sure.
Thank you so much. And mentioning that, if anyone is interested in attending Attitudes in Attire Boots to Heels program, we do it online. You're more than welcome to attend. I can put my information in there again. We would love to have you. So thank you everyone for that.
So I just launched a poll. So something will pop up on your screen. It's just kind of how you heard about this event, if you're a veteran. And then if you're interested in learning more about Attitudes in Attire, as well as the Cohen Veterans Network. If you have information you would like me to share with the entire group that registered, please put it in the chat box, or you can email me. I put my email in the chat as well. It's thetanya.mac@metrocareservices.org. And I can include that in the follow-up email. It looks people are still voting in, and I really just wanted to thank everybody for coming today, participating and listening to us. There was a ton of feedback and a ton of questions. It looks like, yeah, the VA people, there's lots of people that heard about this event from the VA, and we're just super excited that everyone's out here and you're able to connect. There's a few other groups that are already happening on Facebook that you can find. North Texas Women Veterans. I know that not everybody here is from Texas, but there is that group. And there's a couple others. Damika, if you wanted to, I think you mentioned it in the chat, if you want to say what the other group was.
Oh, so in the chat, I put a couple of groups that I know of that are female specific, female veteran specific, and those are Beauty and Boots, North Texas Women's Veterans, if you're in the DFW area, and Minority Veterans of America. Those are three great ones that I've got a lot of resources off of. And then attending Attitudes in Attire, going to the Cohen Clinic,
Yeah.
TMC.
Well, we thank you all for being here. I'm just going to I would like for Karina to do a quick another summary of what y'all do, just because if people didn't join us at the beginning, and then I'll do a quick one too. And then we'll say our goodbyes.
Okay, but Andrew said something that I thought was really important that I just have to say. I believe female veterans would be a great impact in the U.S. educational system. However, I have a hard time generating interest in the field, especially in teaching and guest educators. Any advice on how to get more vets involved in public school systems? Teachers and vets give so much to the country and get so little in return. I think that is an amazing point, and I think that's something that we truly, truly need to address ASAP and figure it out. So I had to thank you, Andrew, for sharing that.
I'm hoping to address some of that with this Operation Lima Charlie on the video history project, is getting it into the schools and building the connections. I think we're at a really great time in history to build the future that we all would like to see, a better country.
Thank you, Maggie. I'm looking forward to it and everything that you're doing. So real quick, Attitudes in Attire Boots to Heels. We work with female veterans, military spouses, and first responder spouses, but our program is for all women 18 and above, but we dress women from the inside out. So we do an now online workshop where we focus on the inside. And then it's so amazing when we get the female veterans and spouses together, because we have similar things in common, and we're able to not only start building our self-esteem, focusing on our self-esteem, self-compassion, relearning to do self-care and building boundaries, but we also get to release some of the things that we've been holding in and share our stories and heal. So after you come through the workshop and we do all that, the workshop online is about 2.5 hours. We shortened it. Then we'll make an appointment with you. We have the Wednesday workshops where we do personal finance classes, we do resources. We have all these amazing veteran resources, and we like to share them. And now I've met so many more people, I can't wait to involve them as well. But we do resources and share all the things that we have. We do Zumba classes, mindful meditation, just things like that. Then you get to come in. We'll make an appointment for you to come in, and we'll address you in your business casual through our boutique. You'll get your business casual clothing. I'm sorry, your professional interview outfit, business casual, and weekend wear clothing. It's an amazing, amazing experiences. We have sizes 00 through 8X extra large. So we have something for everyone. It's overwhelming, but in a really positive, happy way. We're always looking for more people. My contact information will be in a follow-up email. So please come out. And even if you're not in Dallas, you're more than welcome to attend. And what you get without the clothing is even worth it. But if and when you're ever in Dallas, just let me know and I'll make sure you get your clothing. So thank you. Tanya, over to you.
Thanks, Karina. Yeah, so again, I'm with the Cohen Veterans Network. I'm the local Dallas clinic. Our network of clinics provides counseling and case management to active duty military veterans and military families. Each of the clinics kind of have their own thing, but here in Dallas, we do lots of events for children, couples, paint nights, drum circles, acting. We're going to start doing like theater at our new community room. And then across the country, all of the other clinics are also providing different classes and stuff for all of you. So we would love to get you connected to a clinic near you. And anything that we are doing virtually, of course, you're welcome to join no matter where you are in the country. We also provide kind of mental wellness classes. So mental health first aid, counseling on access to lethal means, a lot of the like suicide awareness and prevention kind of classes. So again, thank you all for being here. Please feel free to follow up with me or any of the ladies that had put their info in the chat box, and you'll be receiving an email probably within the next 24 hours so I can get everybody's stuff into me first before I send up that follow-up email. But again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you to all of our panelists. We hope you guys have a good day. Bye.